dark times.
Hello everyone and welcome to today's video where we are going to explore a topic full of mystery and darkness, witch trials and witch hunts. The indispensable element of Halloween is the dark Gothic style. Witches usually wear black dresses and cloaks to create a mysterious temperament. Although witches often have fierce expressions and ugly looks, people in some European countries like them, and even make dolls and hang them at home as ornaments. The witch who became the inspiration for Halloween makeup turned the world upside down during witch trials and witch hunts. Witch trials have a long history, dating back to ancient civilizations. When early Christianity spread in Europe, witches were regarded as evil, which inspired the image of witches in Halloween traditions. From the end of the 15th century to the beginning of the 16th century, people were no longer satisfied with the witch trials, and started the witch hunt movement. People's fear of witchcraft and evil power gradually heated up, which led to the first large-scale witch hunt. The most powerful places are Germany, France, and Switzerland, where witch trials are flourishing everywhere. It is generally believed that witchcraft is an evil act in collusion with the devil, the culprit that brings disasters to mankind, and most of them blame women. The witch hunt further expanded to other European countries such as England, Holland and Spain in the 17th century. Many local governments and churches began to encourage and organize large-scale witchcraft trials. All of a sudden, the witch hunt became a landscape in Europe, which lasted for more than 200 years, and the limelight continued until the 18th century. It is estimated that there are hundreds of thousands of people accused of witchcraft alone, and the number of people executed is about 40,000 to 100,000, but the number of people actually accused may be 3 times more than this. They were severely ill-treated and executed. This witch hunt has also spread to the New World of America. The Salem witch trials in the United States in the 17th century is a typical example. A group of young girls suddenly began to convulse, contort their bodies, and scream. Accused of being witches, collaborating with the devil, or practicing witchcraft, innocent girls were forced to confess to being witches and suffered unfair trials that resulted in the execution of dozens of those accused. Trial process and torture. The process of witch trials is often accompanied by severe torture and abuse. The judges and executors use various torture methods and perform tricky and weird routines. The main torture method is the water immersion test. During witch trials in the 16th century, Katarina Sweden, a Swedish woman accused of being a witch, was tied to a plank and thrown into a river. Sweden ended up drowning, and was found guilty. No wonder someone later said that witches are most afraid of water, otherwise why do they always fly with brooms? Burning. Witches found guilty were usually burned alive. This brutal sentence is designed to punish and deter the accused and others. Torture and interrogation. Torture and interrogation are used by judges to force defendants to confess to witchcraft. Common torture methods include twisting limbs, pulling flesh, and burning with fire. During the Salem witch trials, many of the defendants underwent torture to extract confessions. Among them was Giles Corey, who was accused of being a witch. When he refused to admit the crime, the Inquisitor ordered him to be laid on the ground, on a large stone slab weighing hundreds of pounds. Corey was tortured under heavy pressure, but he always refused to admit the crime. Holy trial, a superstitious practice in which the defendant is asked to undergo a trial in a specific sacred environment, such as entering a church, to determine whether he has evil powers. During the Salem witch trials, many of the defendants underwent torture to extract confessions. Even without a formal trial, some accused witches experience social ostracism, slander and violence. They may be expelled from the community, lose the support of family and friends, and even experience violence. Under these tortures and social pressure, accused people are often forced to make false confessions without a fair trial, and are forced to admit that they are witches, and conspire with the devil, so as to prove their crimes in exchange for a chance of life. Modern witch phenomenon. Even though we are in the 21st century, witch hunts still exist in many countries. In some African countries such as Nigeria, Congo and other rural areas, many people still believe that witchcraft is the cause of misfortune and disease and accuse others of being witches, and even violent acts. Saudi Arabia also has strict official legislation against witchcraft, which has resulted in some people being arrested, tried and even sentenced for alleged witchcraft. While the phenomenon is dwindling in some areas, it still exists in some conservative and religiously extreme societies. In some developing countries, especially in remote areas, witchcraft is still considered a factor affecting people's fate. Social psychological analysis of witch phenomenon. The persistence of witch hunting reveals multiple complex factors such as fear and anxiety in the human psyche, social dynamics and power struggles, cultural prejudice and discrimination, religious and spiritual concepts, etc., which together shape the historical and contemporary manifestations of witch hunting. In 17th century Germany, a wave of witch trials was linked to panic in a society afflicted by disasters such as the Black Death, where witchcraft was believed to be the cause of misfortune. Holy Roman Emperor Charles V's Constitutio Criminalis Carolina made harmful witchcraft a capital offense that could be used to suppress potential rebels and political opponents. In The Hammer of Witches, Heinrich Krummer and Johann Sprenger, a Catholic monk and inquisitor, regarded witchcraft as a cult or heresy, described various witchcraft acts, and described them as blame it on working with the devil. Women are often the primary victims of witch hunts. Don't look at these witches, but many of them are marginalized people, such as single women and widows, who live at the bottom of society. The witch trial is to kill these poor people, and get rid of some obstructive existence. By the way, they collected all their property. It is simply an upgraded version of a robber. In addition, some societies may regard ethnic minorities, people of different religious beliefs, etc. as suspected objects of witchcraft. Witch hunting still exists in some parts of contemporary Africa, Nigeria, Tanzania, etc., and it is also exacerbated by economic difficulties and social instability. Fear and anxiety gave birth to witch hunting. In Saudi Arabia, witchcraft is considered a violation of Islamic teachings. Accusations of witchcraft are often linked to family feuds, neighborhoods, etc. Religious factors play an important role here, with fear and persecution of witchcraft associated with Islamic teachings. Light in the dark. Historically, efforts to combat witch hunting have been full of twists and turns, but they have also witnessed human beings' relentless pursuit of justice and human rights. In 1792, France abolished the medieval trial system, and some laws that forced the recognition of witchcraft, thereby reducing the occurrence of witch hunts. The legal persecution of witchcraft was ended in England in 1736 when laws related to witchcraft were abolished. In modern society, witch hunts have attracted the attention of human rights organizations and international organizations. The human rights movement of the 20th century played a key role in stopping witch hunts. The ill-treatment of witchcraft suspects revealed by human rights organizations such as Amnesty International has drawn international attention, and prompted changes in trial and sentencing policies in some countries. The United Nations has listed the abuse of witchcraft suspects as a human rights violation, and called on countries to take measures to protect human rights. The influence and reflection. The witch trials are a super crazy farce in history, like a nonsensical drama. But fortunately, everyone slowly woke up, and turned to other things, such as enlightenment, scientific exploration and so on. Witches can finally practice witchcraft with peace of mind, and they can show off their broom skills at the Halloween costume party openly. People gradually understood that the trial of witches was just a wrong entertainment project, just like the game of ghost hunting. Back then, only more bloody, and this game was over. When we look at the witch hunts in history, we can't help but think deeply, how did human beings fall into such a collective delusion? We see the fear of the unknown, the rejection of difference, the abuse of power, and the complex influence of culture. These events remind us that even in modern society, we need to remain vigilant and prevent prejudice and ignorance from spreading again. But have we really learned the lessons of history? Can we face the unknown and differences more openly and rationally? In reality, when we blame certain groups and attribute the problem to specific people or things, perhaps we should also examine ourselves, whether we have fallen into the trap of a new form of witch hunting.